What is up, you guys? Bakusa here. I'd like to start this video by thanking you guys for getting me to 1,000 views on my last, or one of my more recent, Albion Online tutorial videos. Today, I'm going to be talking about the zones that you're going to be experiencing or are going through in Albion Online. Let's say you're a brand new player to the game. You just waited through the 2,000 person queue to finally log into the game, and you're trying to gather resources because you want to level up your resource gathering, or you want to gather resources to make your money, and you realize that as you go into the next area over, there's just literally 400 people just mining every single bit of scrap that they can find, and you can't get your hands on anything. Well, I'm going to explain to you the different places you can go, the different places that you can find better materials, or also, oh hey, it's nice and laggy because the city's actually not overpopulated. I can actually load everyone in. How nice. Oh wow, 50 plus market notifications. How nice. Epic. What I'm mainly going to be talking about today is on the world map. You'll notice that there's little squares by every individual place. For example, Haytor right outside Martlock is a blue zone, and Elden Hill right outside it is a yellow zone, and then followed by red zones. If you click on a certain map on the world map, it'll bring up this screen right here, which shows you the map prior to actually going to it. What it also shows is this stuff up here, which basically shows the chance that you're going to be finding resources that are enhanced. So for example, in this zone, there's a 40% chance that you're going to be finding tier 5 stuff that is actually 5.1, which is uncommon, but that's actually pretty good. 40% is pretty high. It also shows you the types of resources that you can find and the respective tiers of these resources. So you can find tier 3 to 5 in this area, but it also has a red region with a skull. What that means is that if a player is flagged, we'll talk about that later, they can attack other players in the area. This can happen in yellow, red, and black zones. So if you see a player that is hostile, that has a red name, that means that they can attack you, and they probably will, if I'm honest. We're going to go into yellow, and we're going to go into red zones. Blue zones are the safest if you are not flagged, which you shouldn't be if you're a new player, just for the record. If you don't know what flagging is, don't worry about it. I'll save that for another video if I need to. But if you're not flagged, you cannot get attacked in the blue zones. You're 100% safe. Nothing wrong with that. You'll notice as we load into this new area, we look down into the bottom right, we see a 16. If we press in to bring up the mini map, we see that there are 13 hostile players. This is a number of players in the area that are flagged. That means that they are going to appear as red health bars, and they can attack other players, and they can kill you in this area. Dying in yellow zone, you basically lose almost nothing. You lose a percentage of your stackable materials, such as iron ore, wood, stone, stuff like that. You lose a percentage of that stack. And you also... Oh, my computer is upset with me. That's okay. And you lose a percentage of that, and you also lose 10% durability on your armor, which will drop as silver awarded to the player that has just killed you. Dying in yellow zones, if you're gathering, is kind of annoying because they do take some of your resources, but all in all, it's not that big of a deal. You lose some resources, but you get to get back up and hopefully get away, and they're not camping your body. Most people don't really attack in yellow zones. It didn't really happen until free-to-play. It's just because there's a lot more people gathering, and people are exploiting that. Now, the next zone over is a red zone. The red zone, anybody who is flagged can attack anybody, and if you die, you lose everything on your person. This works the exact same way as yellow zones in the respect that if you go into the zone, you will see the number of hostile players in the region, and that number down there in the bottom right is very important. For example, we're going to start making our way towards the next zone over. But you'll notice in this area, in the blue zone here, we can find tiers 2 through 4 of the resources. In Elden Hill, we find tiers 3 through 5. In 2 red zones over, I think in Mardale, it'll have tier 4 through 6 materials. And you can only find 7 and 8 in the black zone, which I will not be covering in this video. I'll have to save that for a separate one because that place is risky and I don't want to make this video too long. We're going to be going to the red zone and we're going to take a peek in there. And this is more important for whenever you travel from city to city. You can actually take your product to other cities that, for example, do not have certain resources. For example, here, we don't have access to hide or to cotton / fibers, I guess would be the better way to say it. So stuff that is fiber and leather based might be more expensive here because you have to transport it by hand, which can either be very expensive or very dangerous. So traveling through these zones is something that people do constantly, and if you are a PvP kind of person, you might want to remember that the red zones, if you flag up, which I won't be covering in this video, you can attack other players and kill them for their stuff in red zones. You will get everything that they had, which is scary, and red zones are definitely terrifying. I've never died for a considerable amount in red zone. I've died for a little bit in black zones, but never red zone. Red zone, I've always been able to escape because in general, red zones are just a few players gathered up, where a black zone, you never know how many people are there. It's just a giant clusterfuck. It's not something that you really want to do as a new player unless you have a guild to go with. So we're going to peek into Guttress Hill here. There are 6 players in this region that are hostile, which means that there are less people here to attack you, but one of the benefits of this area, and I will say this is very, very obvious, probably from the start, there are a lot less people here. If you're trying to gather resources and you think you can take the risk and you don't have a lot of money on you to risk, it might be worth the effort to go into red zones for the sake of gathering resources. Yes, you can get attacked, and it's very possible you will, especially if you have a slow mount like an ox, but you're much more alone out here, which I will admit is very, very nice. The resources spawn slower because it's not expected for new players to come out here, and resources are spawning faster only because of the new players all from free to play. But in general, this place is a lot less populated and you can get some peace and quiet in red zones, but again, it does bring up the possibility of you getting attacked by, see, here's a new guy. Be safe. 6 hostiles. Oh, there's actually 3. There's 3 now. He's out here trying to mine. I'm not going to take all of his stuff. I'll take one, but other than that, I'm just going to explore. He can have all of this. So this is a place that you might want to go. There's a corpse there. If you're trying to get some space from the other players, again, the resources do spawn less often, but it also provides you with just more room to breathe, and also with higher tier materials should you actually go into the higher zones. Am I going to get this before it hits me? Yeah, cool. I'm not going to stay in this zone because I don't really see the need to. I don't usually gather that much anymore. I usually just craft. I don't really play this game a ton anymore, but I do all of my stuff in the town, and I can do a video if you guys would like. Put a comment and tell me if you would like to see me post a video of my daily thing on what I do every day when I log in to make my money, because I don't really play for more than about 10 minutes a day, and I can pay for my premium now without any issues. It does take a lot of initial investment and a lot of initial skill because you have to level up your character stats and stuff like that, but as you can already tell, as soon as we get back in the yellow zone, there's just so many people here. And whenever you're in a zone, if you look at the bottom right of your map, you'll also notice that if there's a red circle, that means there's a lot of players clumped together in the same spot. This is called blobbing, and it's very dangerous, especially in black zone or red zone. When you see a bunch of people together, they're probably trying to fight other people, so you might want to avoid them, especially if you're in a red zone or a black zone. Oh hey, he's playing Risk of Rain 2. But as far as blue and yellow goes, it's not that big of a deal. If you're carrying a ton of resources on you, though, you might want to be careful whenever you're running through yellow zone, because people will attack you occasionally. Some mounts will also, if you check on this guy right here, right? If I can click on him, can I click on him? If we click on this person, there's a yak here. You'll notice that it has 40% movement speed bonus and 70% gallop movement speed bonus. This means that if you get attacked, You move at 40%, and if you're not attacked for X amount of time, you move at 70% faster. So if you're not attacked by players, you move faster, but if they hit you, you slow down to this right here. Some mounts actually help you avoid this issue, as my mount is a dragon. It's kind of expensive, but it's worth it. He has 90% movement speed, but his gallop is also 90%, so I'm not slowed down at all when I'm attacked by other players, which can be very helpful. Now, whenever you get attacked by other players, their first goal is going to be to dismount you, and I can go over an entire escape guide and maybe even throw myself into red zone and attempt to get a decent escape in and try to record it the best I can to try to show you guys a way to escape. If you guys would like that, let me know in the comments, and also leave a like on the video if this was helpful for you and if you made it all the way through. I appreciate you guys, and if you guys have any other questions in the comments, I will probably answer same day. If I don't, it would be unusual. So just leave a comment if you have any further questions on something more specific. But the gist of this, with the very little details, and I'll put a little timestamp to this just so people can get a very, very brief, very fast way of getting this information. On your map, if you press M, you zoom in. Blue is safe. Yellow is semi-safe. Players can still attack you, but you need to be pretty careful for the most part, as you don't lose anything as far as your gear is concerned, but you do lose a percentage of your stackables, such as resources like ore, logs, and stuff like that. Red zones, if you die, you lose everything on your person. If you press in, you look at the top right here, it'll say there's this many hostile players. This is how many people in the area are flagged. Flagged players can attack you, and if you run into them, you will see them as a red health bar instead of a blue one as you run past them. As you pass through to other cities, you will have to pass through red zones, which makes traveling from city to city dangerous. But as you also notice in the top right, certain regions only have access to certain resources. As I cannot get fiber or leather here, it might be easier for people to take places that have access to fiber and leather and transport it to other parts of the map. For example, if you wanted to take your leather from here, you could run to Bonepool Marsh through Ludson Hill and bring it back from Mountain Hill to bring it to Martlock, where you could probably sell it for more than you would in other places, though it is dangerous as you must pass through a red zone. Hope this video was helpful to you guys, and if you guys have any questions, just put them in the comments and I will answer in the same day. Have a good one, guys. Stay safe. Make some money.